Welcome everyone to the degrees, certificates, and more at Gies today. I am going to give everybody a chance to join in here. We'll kind of get started slowly. I know sometimes it could be a little confusing on Zoom with all of their different setting changes and things. So excited that you're here. If you guys are just joining us, throw in the chat where you're from. We're curious where you're joining us from, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, the evening. We're used to all of the different time zones here, so throw in the chat. Let us know where you're from. I'm located here in Champaign, and I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kate Deering. I am an admissions coordinator within Gies Online programs, and been here a couple of years. Love everything about Gies and our mission. So very excited to be here today to talk with you all. I have several different guests here today that I'm super excited about. My colleague, Allison, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Hodina. I'm a coordinator here with Gies Online Programs in our admissions and recruitment team, focusing on admissions. I see our chat is disabled. We're going to work behind the scenes here to get that going. I am an alumni of University of Illinois, but now I live up in the Chicago suburbs with my husband and 2 kids. So it's fun to see you guys. It's evening here for us, so good to see you this evening. Can't wait to hear where you're all from. I see some California, Cincinnati, Goshen, Wisconsin, or Indiana, Los Angeles.
Is it working now? Is the chat working?
Yes, looks like it's working. All
Perfect.
right, awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, Allison. As Allison said, she's going to be here working the Q&A feature and the chat. I was going to mention, just as far as your questions, the best place to put those is really in the Q&A feature. It kind of streamlines them, and we can make sure that everybody can see the answers versus the chat. Sometimes they get a little lost, but by all means, throw your comments in the chat. We also love the chat. The chat's always super fun and active, but if you have specific questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A. Okay, so I do want to have our panelists introduce themselves real quick before we get started. We are so lucky to have 2 of our all-star students here with us, one current student and one alum. So Janine Mosier and Kevin Davis. Janine, I'm going to have you go first. She's a current student ambassador right now in the iMBA program.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. And hi, everyone. It's great to be with you this evening. As Kate said, my name is Janine. I am a few months away from graduating from the iMBA program. I'll be done in May. So both sad and excited about that. I started in January of 2021, have loved the program and really excited to share with you all. I actually work in higher education. So I work at a private college in the Chicago suburbs as a vice president for enrollment. And excited to, just get to know you all tonight.
Excellent. Excuse me. Thanks, Janine. Okay, Kevin.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. My name is Kevin Davis. I am a May 22 graduate of the MSM program. I'm based out of Chicago, and I lead marketing and brand strategy for a healthcare organization, nonprofit healthcare organization in the Chicago area.
Excellent. So we have a lot of different backgrounds here, which is great. We are going to, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to dive in. We have our panelists here. They're going to share some amazing student experience information here in a little bit, but I did want to just give you an overview of the degrees, the certificates, and everything that we offer here within Gies. There is a QR code on this screen right now. If you want to scan that with your phone, we're happy to talk offline after this. It's just an easy way for us to connect with you if you want to talk about your goals and maybe just some specific questions that you have about any of our programs. So you can go ahead and scan that, and we'll get back with you. Okay, our agenda today, we are going to talk about Gies Business Online and the overall model that we have here at Gies. We're going to talk about each Gies credential. We're going to hear from Janine on her ambassador experience and the student experience. And then we're going to hear, luckily, from Kevin, who is an alum now, and his perspective. And then at the end, we will have plenty of time for Q&A. So before we do that, I did want to launch a quick poll. I'm curious, which credential are you interested in today? As you're joining us, before hearing any type of information, throw in the chat or in the poll. Let us know what you're thinking here as far as what you're coming into this hour and what you're interested in. We're going to cover all of these credentials, but it's always nice to know what our audience looks like. So this is excellent. So we have a few graduate certificate interests, and then of course the 3 degree programs, and a couple seem undecided. So that's perfect. Thank you for filling that out. So let's get started. My computer is of course frozen right there. Come on. Give me 1 second while this. There we go. So just to start, I want to talk about the Gies Business Online programs in general. It was built upon 3 main qualities. The first one being flexibility. This is our core theme throughout all of our programs. We are pretty flexible, I would say, in many ways. We have no travel requirements. Courses are delivered completely online, including all of your live classes and your group work. So there's no disruption to your full-time job or your family commitments. Honestly, you can go on a vacation and still attend your live classes and not have to stop your job, and perhaps, thinking about other options that are out there, like a full-time in-person program that you would even have to possibly stop your paycheck. This is just a great quality of Gies Business Online. They're also flexible and paced to fit your needs with 8-week terms where you can take 1 course or 2, depending on your life and your schedule and what's happening there. I apologize. Of course, my screen is frozen. The next Gies quality that we really like to talk about is the stackability, and our credentials and online programs stack and work together. So this unique stackability is going to allow you many options to meet you where you're at in your learning pursuit. We give you the option to test drive a course if you're not quite ready to dive in. Maybe you really enjoy that experience, and then you can build from there until you decide that you're ready for a full degree. All the while, you're going to be learning skill sets and mastering smaller topics, which can really help you advance your career without earning that full master's degree. And then lastly, online by design means that this program, it wasn't adapted to be in this format. It was specifically designed to be delivered to thousands of learners worldwide. We created this highly engaging content that you can access anywhere, anytime, without giving up your career or your family commitments. It was also intentionally designed to have a lot of interaction with your faculty and your fellow students. And it also includes a lot of collaboration during your degree. This slide represents just all of the building blocks and credentials that we offer at Gies. We are going to dive into each one of these here specifically in a moment, but we have free online courses that are delivered on Coursera. Those are called MOOCs. You could take a 4-credit non-degree single course. You could also take 3 of those, and those would you would apply to the graduate certificate program, but we have graduate certificates that combine 3 specific 4-credit courses. And then all of those are stackable into our online master's degrees. So there's just a lot of options. And as you see on this slide, you can put them together however that you would like. You're really in charge of your path, and it can start, wherever you want, and you can build from there. Did Kevin and Janine, did either of you guys start with a different credential than just the master's degree, like a MOOC first?
No.
No,
Mhm.
okay. I wasn't sure if either of you guys did that. That is a great option that we talk about as far as starting out with, if you would like to test drive a course or try out that course before you apply to a graduate certificate or a master's degree. Two great places to start would be a Coursera MOOC or a non-degree course. These MOOCs or massive online open courses, these share the foundational material in our Gies 4-credit courses. There are 2 of them in every Illinois 4-credit course. These are going to include pre-recorded videos that are produced by our faculty members. And then there will also be included some readings and some peer review activities. Another possible step in the learner journey is taking a Gies non-degree course. I love this option if you're just really not sure and you also want to check out how we deliver the information and just try out a course. This non-degree course, these are going to include 2 of those MOOCs we just talked about, but then we are going to add in a high engagement component from Illinois where you're going to engage with the faculty and your classmates every week in live classes, group projects. This is, as I said, just a great way to test drive a course and really get a feel for the rigor of the program. And then if you decide you love it, you can just continue on and apply to one of the degrees. Very simple application process with the requirement of a bachelor's degree. And I did note the tuition there at the end for just taking one course. If it's a business course in the iMBA or iMSM course, it's $320 per credit hour. And then the accounting courses run $3,400. Those are $850 per credit hour. Another credential that will give you mastery in a real specific subject is our graduate certificates. These are made up of iMBA, iMSA, and iMSM courses. They combine 12 hours of credit to earn a transcriptable certificate. So these have a pretty brief application process, somewhat similar to our degree programs where you'll just need your resume, personal statement, a TOEFL test if you're an international student, and transcripts. These credentials can really give you confidence and knowledge in that specific area, like accounting basics or strategic leadership. And they can stand alone, or you can complete 3 of these or complete one of these and stack that into one of our 3 master's degree programs. We did just recently launch 2 new ones, accounting foundations, and that one's going to be for those that are looking to increase their technical knowledge of financial and managerial accounting. And then we have another brand new one, CPA Pathways, for those with a pretty strong background in accounting that are looking to enhance their financial accounting, taxation, and accounting data analytics knowledge. That one is definitely going to prepare you to sit for the CPA exam and build expertise that you would need to excel as a CPA. So another option in our Gies portfolio is all of our iDegrees. All of our graduate certificates we just talked about will stack into one of our 3 iDegrees, our iDegree master's degrees. So you will start with 12 credit hours already complete if you decide to go that path. The MBA is for those who want to pursue a highly respected business degree where you will learn from very diverse global students with rich professional work experience. You noticed in our guests today, their backgrounds are a little different than each other, but we have many different backgrounds represented in all of our programs. We, of course, in the MBA have business-oriented backgrounds like professionals with startup experience, those seeking the C-suite, entrepreneurs, but then we also do have non-traditional backgrounds like nonprofit execs, or very technical engineering backgrounds, or some like Janine in higher education. The MBA runs just at $23K, just over, with a pay-as-you-go tuition model, and you only pay for each course that you're registered in. You will complete 72 credit hours over 2 to 3 years, and that's really paced that pace is going to be dependent on you and how fast you want to move through the program. You can take one course every 8-week term, or 2 courses each 8-week term. The MBA, in the MBA, you'll complete 6 specializations, which is going to total 18 courses. 12 of those will be core courses, and then 6 are going to be your focus areas or your elective choices. So there is some room there to cater your MBA to what your career is in and your background. And then finally, you will also have 3 capstone projects. 2 will be on 2 of the 6 specializations that you complete, and then you'll have 1 program capstone at the end. So I'm going to stop talking for just a quick minute. Janine, can you just share with our audience just a little bit on why you pursued your MBA and what, I guess, just your overall experience has been like?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. I actually first started looking at the MSM program that's offered by Gies. And then quickly, as I was looking at the MBA, I really wanted something that was going to help me kind of expand my business background. So I moved into a management role pretty quickly and wanted to just have some more leadership classes, which was part of the MSM, get some more background in accounting and budgeting and all of that. Saw that was also, there were more finance options in the MBA. And so decided to go that route because I wanted something that would be versatile, no matter what career I'm in, no matter what job I'm looking for, but also something that would prepare me for some of the new leadership roles that I had been in. So that, I mean, the amount of learning that I have had in the last 2 years has been pretty incredible in terms of being able to at night do my work and the next day actually directly apply it to whether I'm in board meetings or I'm in a meeting with our CFO to actually understand when he's talking through our balance sheets, to have that knowledge, or our leadership classes. I've been able to directly apply that with my team. So, I mean, it's been incredible to see the direct application, sometimes even on a daily basis.
That's great to hear. So you're learning as you go, but it's directly applicable, just even in each class that you're taking. So that's really good to hear. Okay, let's keep going. We're going to have more time with our panelists here in a minute. Just one last slide on the iMBA. The average age is 37 with 11 years of work experience. So we do have a pretty mature population when talking about work experience in the iMBA program. This does really enhance your group work and your projects because you'll be working with students from all over the world with vast experience in different areas. This program, as all of our programs are, is global with 92 countries represented and a big contributor, as I said, to the diverse learning environment and the network that you'll experience in the program. I was talking with one of our ambassadors the other day, and his name is Suppa, and he was going to South Africa for a wedding, and he reached out on one of our platforms, Workplace, and said, "Hey, I'm going to this country. Are there any iMBA students that could help me out?" And another iMBA student actually picked him up at the airport and took him on a little tour and delivered him to his hotel. But that was just a great kind of story that he shared with me. And he had never met this person before, but they were fast friends through the program. So those kind of stories happen all the time. Okay. Let's move on to our next master's degree that we offer, the Master's of Science in Management. This is going to be for those that are looking to enhance your leadership and management skills. And again, you can have any kind of background to be successful in this program because leadership and management skills are valuable in any field. There is no professional work experience required in this program. So we do have a little bit of a combination of students who are just starting their careers to build that foundational knowledge. But then we also have students with 15 plus years of work experience that are looking to pivot and maybe add on leadership and people management. This program comes in at $11K and has that pay as you go model. You're only paying for each course that you're registered for. It will be 36 credit hours over 12 to 24 months. So you'll take 1 or 2 courses, and that's totally up to you, as we've mentioned. And what's included in the MSM is going to be 6 core courses, and then you'll have 3 elective choices. So we have a few predetermined tracks that you can choose from, or you can make your own path and choose any 3 electives. Some of those paths are like global business challenges, business value, and project management or business data management. Like the MBA, there's 4 start dates for the MSM as well: January, March, August, and October. So now, Kevin, I'm going to pick on you. What can you tell us a little bit about why you chose the MSM program, and maybe like which electives you chose, and give us just a little overview?
I feel like I did the opposite of Janine. I was originally looking at the MBA program at Gies and a few other schools, and what it came down to was really looking at what I wanted from the program and how much time I was willing to commit to get there. And so with MSM program, it complemented my background. My background's in marketing. I've had about 15 years of experience. And so I wanted to pivot more into people and processes. And so I was able to get that inside the management program without all the things that I did need. So, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I need to make a decision. And I saw an ad on Facebook, and, you know, I saw the price, I saw the timeline, the commitment, and the curriculum. And, you know, I said, this is the one for me. And so it's just been, you know, it was a great selection there. I can't remember which electives I picked. I did a kind of a build your own approach, but I did take a couple courses that I know, so like product management, strategic. I took a lot of the global leadership, global management courses as well. But I think my choice has kind of fell in line with strategy and leadership. Like if I had to define a specialization there.
Okay, but really nice that you can make your own path too, instead of, you know,
Yes.
picking one of the predetermined tracks. So
Yeah.
perfect. That was a great explanation. Let's cover one more degree, and then we'll get more into the student experience. Actually, real quick, the MSM, just in case you're curious, the average age is 34 in the iMSM program with 9.5 years of work experience. So despite not having a work experience requirement, we do have a pretty mature population in this program as well. And this degree also has global participation from 67 countries. And we did actually just announce not too long ago that the iMSM is now stackable into the iMBA program. So once you complete that MSM, you can apply. You'll have to apply to the MBA, but if admitted, you would be able to stack 36 credit hours into that program and be halfway to, you know, to your MBA. So just a great chance to start with the MSM, maybe gain some more work experience while you're in the program. And then eventually on your own timeline, if you decide that you want to pursue the MBA, great. You can go ahead and apply. So another option of stackability. The last master's degree that Gies offers is the Master's of Science in Accountancy. This MSA degree is going to help you build expertise in the fundamentals of accounting, financial reporting, audit and control, and also U.S. federal taxation. So if you're a student looking to start your career in accounting, or you have many years of experience and you're looking to maybe move into that C-suite role, then this is a great degree for you. The cost on the MSA program is a range. It's 20 to 27K because of your elective choices. So non-accounting courses are a little bit less expensive than the accounting courses. This MSA degree will include 32 credit hours over 18 to 36 months. And that is going to include 5 core courses, and then you'll have 3 elective choices. The one caveat to the MSA program is that we only have 2 starts per year because the courses in the MSA are 16 weeks long. So they're 2 8-week terms combined. So we only have a January and an August start for that program. And just to recap, the average age in the MSA is 36 with 10 years of work experience, and many countries, 39 countries represented, as well as 46 US states. One great stat for the Gies College of Business as a whole is that we have a 75% first-time CPA pass rate, which is amazing. And then we also have the #1 ranked faculty within the United States. So you are going to be learning from the best in the MSA program. Okay, so I feel like I've shared a lot of information. We've covered all of the credentials that the Gies Business offers in the online space. And I want to move a little bit more into the student experience portion of our program and have our ambassadors share their experience. So I'm going to turn it over to Janine, and she's going to talk a little bit about how we deliver information, what your work week looks like, and maybe a little bit about what networking looks like within Gies Online.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, so you can, if you decide to become part of the program, whether it's the MSM or the MBA, there are 2 key platforms on which we do our work. So that's Coursera, where you would do the MOOCs. You've got videos, you're engaging with those videos in terms of answering questions, or sometimes there's a peer assignment that you're doing where you're creating an assignment and peers are grading yours. You get to grade theirs as well. So you do that, you kind of do the learning on that site with videos and some interactive things. And then the high engagement part, which is part of the courses that you don't have access to if you're on just Coursera, is usually something like a group project. Some of the classes are papers, or other ways in which you're really kind of taking that learning from Coursera and really putting it into practice. One of the things that I've really appreciated, actually one of the reasons that I chose this program, was that I was able to actually connect with people in the program. And so it wasn't just an online forum where you're just answering questions. You're actually in each of your classes being put into group projects for every class. And so you're with a group of 5 or 6 people working on some sort of project, a paper together. And that's one of the ways that you get to know students within the program. And it's been, I came in not quite sure what to expect from an online program, and I'll be walking away with what has actually kind of felt in some ways like an in-person program, because I've gotten to know people. It's all been on Zoom, but I've gotten to know people. I've gotten to know faculty, all through the ways in which the classes have really been set up. And so it's always felt like it's a very interactive process. Our classes are held on Zoom, but we use the chat. We get put often into groups during Zoom to work on something together with people in the class and then come back together as a whole. You get to engage with faculty, actually ask questions. They have office hours you can attend to ask questions one-on-one. So it's a highly personalized program. And that has just been, I think, one of my absolute favorite things about it. Typically from week to week, I know I had a lot of questions about what does it look like? How many hours? Am I going to be able to do this while working full time? I've taken about 2.5 years to do the program. So that allowed me in some of the terms to do 1 class at a time, and majority of the terms do 2 classes at a time. I think we typically say it's like 10 to 15 hours a week, depending on the class, for the number of hours that you need to commit to a class. Often classes are on like a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. The really nice thing is there's lots of options, so you can join live, but there's also a recording of it. So if anything happens, life gets in the way, which I know it has for me in my investments class right now. I'm so grateful for the fact that I can watch them recorded and come back to them on the weekends when I've got a little bit more space. But I always highly recommend going in person to class, because it's a great way to get to know people as well. So that's usually part of the weekly rhythm. I usually do my Coursera on the weekends. Weekends are my time for studying. And then you're usually, depending on the class, having to meet with your group if you've got a project every other week or every couple of weeks. I've always been amazed every time I've got a group project. We've been able to find times that work for all of us. We're able to flex with each other's schedules. And you can actually put in for your group preferences, your preferred times to meet, and they try and match you with people who have the same availability. So that's been a really kind of fun way to get to know people. And, Kate had mentioned how international this program is. It's another reason I chose it, actually. And so being able to work with people who are not just in the Chicagoland area where I am, but are from across the US, from across the world, and be able to learn from them and learn together with them has really been pretty incredible and a great add to the learning as well. And then kind of the last thing that Kate asked me to talk about is the networking. So I've got actually 2 pictures here. I'm not in either of them, but I took them. And this is from something that I would probably say, if you are going to be part of the program, try to attend at least once. And that's something called iConverge. We have an event for all the iDegrees programs every fall where we converge on Urbana-Champaign, and we go to campus, and it's a really wonderful program that's put on by Gies that allows you to see the school, get to see the actual, you can see on the bottom left photo, actually see the studios where your classes are taught from, see behind the scenes. We got to go through sessions where we did some learning together, but got to know others who are in the program. There's a picture at the top of a football game that I got to go to as well, just to kind of get to know the University of Illinois a little bit more, as well as be part of Gies. So that's a huge way to network, but really there's lots of other options. Kate had mentioned earlier something about one of our online platforms. So as a student, you'll have access to something called Workplace, which is like, it's the Facebook for workplaces or for colleges. And that is an incredible tool. You know, Kate mentioned someone wrote, I'm going to South Africa. Are there any students who are from there? I've had times where I've even needed career advice, or, you know, I was considering a move and trying to figure out just kind of some salary expectations in a different part of the country. I posted my question on Workplace and had a dozen people respond with some tips and tricks and things to look at. There are usually groups for each class that you can be part of that and have people that you can study together with and learn together with. And that's been like, there's a really great way to network and get to know people. There's often also pop-ups that'll happen really across the world. I just saw one on Workplace today that was for iMBAers who are in Singapore that we're going to get together. I know across the Chicagoland area, there are also pop-ups where people will say, hey, let's get together before Christmas. We'd love to host a time for some of the iDegrees people to get together. There's one happening on the 17th that I'm going to in the west suburbs. And so there's just really, I mean, people kind of organically plan these things because they just have such a great experience and love chances to get together. So there's lots of opportunities for networking. And it really, I think it is what you choose for it to be. You'll get out of it what you want to get out of it.
I think that's a great point. And somehow I think our students just love getting to know each other and connecting, and they often talk about it as their Gies family. So, but it is, yes, if you put effort into it, you will see big returns. So thanks, Janine. That was a perfect kind of explanation of how the courses work, what your week looks like, and a little bit about networking, which is awesome. I have this next slide that I just wanted to recap the networking opportunities. And I'm pretty sure that you touched on all of them except maybe the immersions. If I could get my computer to work here. It's just not liking me today. Well, this is a picture of, okay, back up. These are many of the opportunities, and Janine touched on most of these. So the Gies-led opportunities, maybe she talked about iConverge. There's two other ones. iConnects those are basically meetups, but we'll bring in a professional speaker, and we usually go wherever our leadership team is going to a conference or something, and we'll host one of those. Those are great. And then immersions. Immersions are just, they're offered domestically and internationally. They do have a separate cost, but they're an opportunity to do a project within a large group. I think this last one we had was around 30 students, where you're embedded in a company and you're working with various stakeholders in the community on a project. This also will count as a capstone. It can count as one of your capstone projects in the MBA program. So this slide was a picture of this last immersion that we just had. I think it was in August in Seattle. I think they had about 30 students, and they went to the Seahawks stadium and had a bunch of fun, but also solved a pretty big project within the company that they were working with. I had a couple more pictures just iConverge, I know is a super fun event. Janine, so you've gone once, and Kevin, you were here this last one, I believe, where we had 500 students and 17 countries represented. I remember there was a huge faction from Singapore at this last one, which was really neat. And I loved that we got to spend a half day in the State Farm Center, which was kind of cool to be right on the floor there. So iConverge, we have a great time at those as the recruitment team and the leadership team. We really enjoy getting to know everybody at those too. This slide was I just shared a couple slides. This is Workplace. These are a few posts that Janine mentioned, this platform where you can share graduation pictures. This one, the picture on the right, was two students that met up, one through their company, and this was in Germany, I believe. So lots of connections are happening on Workplace. And then lastly, the student meetups. Janine mentioned these as well. These happen domestically and internationally. And basically students just say, hey, I'm Kate, I live in Champaign, I'm in the iMBA program. Who lives close? Let's meet up and have coffee. So those are homegrown networks, which are pretty special in our program. And those happen all the time too. Okay, so let's change gears again, and we are going to get another student perspective from Kevin, and he's going to talk a little bit about being a graduate and what that feels like, and maybe some return on investment he's seen in the program. And I was just curious to get his general thoughts looking back at the program.
Yeah, thank you. When you start the program and you meet folks in workplace or in your courses, and you break out into those groups and they start telling you, oh, this is my last class, or I'm done next term, you feel like it's so far away. And I remember that feeling. I started August 2021, and I remember that feeling. It felt so far away, but what helped me throughout the whole process, everyone is so friendly. Everyone is willing to help. Everyone is looking to share information with you, help guide you. It just seems like everybody wants you to succeed, and that's something that you don't expect. Typically in a business environment, it's very high, it's highly competitive, and everyone feels, but that's never been something that I've felt as a student at Gies and as an alum. And while I was searching for programs, the one thing that I kept seeing are people complaining like, oh, online programs or online business schools, you're missing the networking components. You're not going to build community. You're not going to have those types of connections with your fellow students and make inroads with alumni. And that has been the furthest from the truth. From day one, as Janine said, there are so many opportunities to get involved on campus, to engage with other students, whether it's study groups or meetups around the country. My first meetup was the Winter Takeover, which happens in January during basketball season. So you go down to campus, you hang out, have a good time, go to a basketball game, you network, meet some people, have some food and some drinks, and have a good time. But it kind of breaks down those barriers, and it helped me kind of knock down some walls on what to expect. And so I walked away from that weekend with friends that I still hang out with to this day, and people that I text message. And going through graduation, and I felt like, oh, I'll be so distant and away from the program, but I am still very connected. I went down to iConverge this time. I missed it the first year. Had a ball down there, met some folks that I'd only exchanged information with or communication with in class or in workplace. And there were so many people from around the world. Some of my group members from around the world were there. I met some folks from Guyana, Bangladesh. They all came down for iConverge. So it's essentially business school homecoming. And that's the best way to put it. It's football game, there's tailgating, there's lectures and kind of chats and things like that. But it's been a very enjoyable experience. I had a bit of an introduction with the University of Illinois family because my wife is an alum. She's an 04 alum from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. And so all of my professional success when I've been in Chicago has been part of partly due to relationships from the University of Illinois alumni. And so I already knew what was, what was possible. And that was a great representation for me. And I've always wanted to be a part of it. And when I started looking for school, at the time, there weren't as many programs. And then by the time I was ready, I saw that management program and it spoke to me and it fit what I needed for my career. As I look back, the return on investment with the time that I put into the program, it does challenge you. I will say very honestly, I kind of overestimated my academic abilities a little bit. I'm like, oh, I've been working for a long time. There may not be a bunch of things that I'm going to learn. I'll do my best. And then I got my butt kicked like that first week, like, oh, this is for real. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to unlearn. So the curriculum is up to date. It will challenge you. It does require you to adjust free time. I'm balancing being married, being a father, being on boards, trying to get promoted at work, all these different things, but it's doable. And I was kind of on the fast track with my program. But looking back, it was totally worth it. There's nothing that I would change about my experience. I made some great friends. I made some great relationships with some of the professors. Some of them we text message and hang out with down at iConverge or reach out on LinkedIn. And so one thing that I hope everyone takes away from this is you never feel like you're othered because it's an online program. You feel like a true member, full member of the University of Illinois and Gies community. There's so many opportunities to come down to campus. There's so many opportunities to meet in person. You don't feel like you're disconnected. It's optional. So if you choose to opt out, that's on you. But it has been a great experience. And, for those that are unsure, take both of the programs to figure out what fits. And now with the stackable program with the MSM, that does give you a bit more flexibility. If you say this fits me now, but I may expand a little bit later, or you may be like me and say, I'm fine. I got what I needed from it. The options are there. So it's been a great experience and I love it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kevin. I did see a picture pop up of you and Condola not too long
Yes.
ago. I think you guys were at some, event or something.
Yep.
So that was a great picture too. She was
Oh, actually, I was going to say these pictures I just totally forgot. So at the graduation in May with my wife and my daughter, my youngest child there, that picture next to the graduation picture is at Professor Hayden Noel house during iConverge, kind of hanging out with a bunch of folks. And that bigger picture is we had a little Northside Chicago meetup right before Thanksgiving. So we started our first one last November and we meet every quarter and then we mix in with the larger Chicago group. But that's just us hanging out, building community and having a great time. So, but yeah, I did run into Condola on Tuesday at a philanthropy event. So it was good to see some fellow alum there.
very cool. I can't believe Hayden had everybody to his house. Professor Noel,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
Cool. Well, that was a perfect description, gave us a real good idea of, graduation, and sounds like you've gotten a lot out of the program. So thank you for
Absolutely.
sharing that. We're going to move on real quick. I know we've covered a lot about the student experience and the credentials that you can earn, the stackability of those credentials, and what those 3 master's programs look like. How are you feeling about this process? I guess those who are with us today, are you still kind of hesitant? What is still making you nervous about kind of taking that dive into one of our credentials? There should be a poll popping up on your screen. I'm just curious. We're going to go quickly through some of the application materials. So online format is popping up. Hopefully Janine and Kevin kind of clarified some of those concerns. A lot of you can't wait to apply. That's great. I'm gonna leave this up for another second. Let's go ahead and end that. Thank you for filling that out. Here's those results if you're curious. My hope is that we uncovered some of these concerns that you've expressed, but we also are happy to discuss any questions that you still have in the Q&A. So don't hesitate to throw those in in the Q&A. So here's some brief information on just the application requirements in order to apply. Both graduate certificates and the degree programs require these first four: resume, academic history, a bachelor's degree, a personal statement, and a TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo English proficiency test if you're an international student. In addition, an additional requirement for the master's programs is 2 professional letters of recommendation. And for the iMSA, we do require 2 prerequisites: 1 business management course and 1 financial accounting course. We do have a couple scholarship opportunities for our master's degrees. We have 1 scholarship in partnership with Coursera that is need and diversity based. It focuses on making our programs more accessible and in alignment with our goals of impacting our global community of students. And then we also have the Forte scholarship. Actually, back up, the Coursera scholarship will reimburse 70% of the tuition. The Forte scholarship awards 1 female candidate per term, $20,000. And for that, we're looking for exemplary leadership, diverse backgrounds, and those women who are demonstrating a commitment to advancing women in business. So a couple options there for scholarships. Application review, we pride ourselves in getting applications through the process pretty fast. So just give us 1 to 2 weeks to review your initial application. We do have rolling admissions and turn those around pretty quickly. You should hear from us with a decision, a missing materials email, or an invitation to interview in that 1 to 2 week range. All of our admitted students will have a 20-minute Zoom interview with a member of our team as well. Okay, so I'm going to jump here to our last slide that is going to have that QR code up there again in case you still have questions. A brief overview of the next deadline that's coming up is February 2nd for a March start for the iMBA and the iMSM degree programs. If you wanted to apply for a degree program in January and you still want to start something, you can start one of those credentials that we talked about in either taking a non-degree course or start a graduate certificate. Those applications are still open. Okay, so I want to let's take a quick look at the chat and see if there's any questions for Kevin or Janine. Allison, have you been monitoring that?
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet in the chat. We had a couple questions come through in the Q&A just about some of the mechanics of the program that we were able to answer, but nothing just yet in the chat. So if you've got the questions, put them in the Q&A or put them in the chat here and we'll get to them. Looks like one just popped in through our Q&A box here. If I live in the US and have 6 years of working experience in the US, but have a college degree from another country, do I need to apply as an international student? That really depends on your residency status. So once you once you get started on your application, it will automatically code you as either a domestic or an international student. You know, that does not affect your tuition rate for the program. You know, it would just affect your need to provide a TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo score. However, if you've been working in the US for 6 years, you will meet one of our exemption requirements. So you will be granted a waiver and would not need to give us a score, a TOEFL or an IELTS or a Duolingo score.
I see one question that maybe Janine can answer. In the iMBA program, do you complete the Coursera and the high engagement component concurrently, or do you complete one and then you start the other? I feel like you touched on this a little bit, but.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So it's kind of both. You could do both, but essentially you're doing, like every week you could pace it out where you're doing one section from Coursera. So each MOOC, you've got 2 MOOCs for every class. Each MOOC has 4 different modules. One module is 1 week. So you've got 8 modules altogether. You'll have 8 modules in Coursera and then 8 modules in the high engagement. I would typically do like my week 1 Coursera to get the knowledge, and then I would do the week 1 high engagement. and then week 2 Coursera, week 2 high engagement. Kind of do them at the same time, but I would usually do the learning first in Coursera. One thing you can do, which I've done a few times when there's been like a summer break, is work ahead of time on Coursera, which has been really nice when I've had like a summer, I've got a little bit more time and I know my fall is going to be really busy. I've done the Coursera ahead of time. And then when it got to the class, I only had to do the high engagement part. So there's a lot of flexibility there in terms of how you need to do your work.
And like, as you said, finding what works for you. I think there's a lot of different strategies too. Kevin, what is the length of live online classes and how many times a week is that class available? Can you just explain that a little bit?
Live classes, well, I think 90 minutes or I think 90 or 120 minutes, 2 hours or so, just under 2 hours, I believe. And they were offered 3 times a week. Surprisingly, I never missed a live session. I just was like, my point, I want to make it. So that for me, that was essential to my routine. And I can't stress it enough. You have to develop a nice routine and cadence to get through. So for me, it was to find out when the live sessions were going to happen and put that onto my calendar and stick to it. So in any event that I had something to do or I was traveling, I could jump into an earlier course, earlier live session, or you can jump into the office hours as well. But yeah, there's definitely a benefit to the live session versus catching the recording if you can, to get to chime in and get that engagement in real time.
Okay. Nice to have the option though to watch that.
Looks like we have a question. Does work experience help with your application for the non-degree program options? Work experience is not necessarily required if you're a non-degree seeking student, so it would not affect your application at all. And then we had another question. I know Kate kind of touched on this earlier in the presentation. Between the 3 programs, is there any reason that the iMSA fee is higher? So the per credit hour tuition rate for our accountancy program, our accountancy courses, is $850 versus the fee for our business courses, which is $320 per credit hour. So that makes the tuition in the iMSA a little bit higher. And that is why also the iMSA tuition is a variable. You know, there's a range there because you have the ability to choose either accountancy electives or you can choose business electives. So that will affect what the total tuition is for the program.
Well, I think that looks like we've gotten all the questions answered. So I think we're going to wrap up here. We really appreciate all of our attendees joining us today to learn about all of the credentials that we offer within Gies Online programs. Special thank you to Janine and Kevin. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and always being willing to participate in these events. And then Allison, thank you for doing such a great job in the Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here for you, and we hope to see your application soon or have a conversation with you soon to see how we can help you reach your learning potential and your learning goals. So everybody have a great evening, and we hope to see you soon.